Good morning, happy Tuesday, and thank you for joining us for our Success Tips from the Top. I'm Katie Sevenance, and at Business by Design Online, we are your online educational hub for women entrepreneurs. Whether you have a business and you've decided, oh my gosh, I'm kind of stalling out, I need a little guidance, I need to take the next steps, I want to grow my business and be successful this year, we've got you covered. Today, our guest is... can't wait to bring her up here, is Carol Williams. And we're excited because she is going to help you with our theme today, which is Know Your Numbers. So Carol, we're excited to have you join us this morning. Yay.
Yay. Welcome. Thank you for being here.
Well, and I say this morning because it's 10 o'clock in Colorado, but you are on the East Coast. So what, are you noon already?
I am. It's noon somewhere, as they say, and it's noon right here in the Northeast. So, and it's awesome. A nice sunny day, and I'm grateful for that.
Oh, good, good. I'm excited. Well, we cannot wait to learn more about you. And I have not met you in person, so this is really fun for me because I get to interview people and learn about women all over the world who are doing amazing things. So let's start right off the bat. What is your top tip for women in business when it comes to knowing your numbers?
Okay, I'm going to start with the obvious, right? And that is to know them. But it's like, for example, I just started with a brand new person. And in the interview, when I'm talking to somebody about working with me, I ask some questions. And I get clear about their income goals, right? And so she was very fuzzy about those. So I said, okay, and she had some stuff going down, but she's got, well, we can get into that later. But I said, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to get you a system. So the tip one is know them, and sort of subset of that is to get yourself a system. Reality check. So if you don't have a software system to take, because so many people I know that they don't, and they might have some like an Excel sheet or but no, you need to get a real system. Okay, a real system. So whether it's QuickBooks or maybe it's Quicken Home and Business, or it doesn't really matter. Know where that money is going. NerdWallet is a favorite, app for some of my people, because the more you are able to track, then the more you're able to make those smart decisions. So that is number one. Okay.
So when you're talking about that as having a system to be able to track your outgoing business expenses, tracking your incoming business expenses. Right. Do you feel like that's first before you put out that goal? This is how much money I want to make in my business. I mean, why am I in business?
No, because you need to know how much you need to make. Like you have to be really real on this. When I first hired my first business coach, she actually suggested, and so I follow suit because, it worked for her and worked for me. Yeah. So it'll probably work and not to just have one number. Okay. This is sort of a subset of the first tip as well. Not to just have the one number. Oh, I want to make, I don't know, $50,000, $100,000, like whatever the number is. Like have 3 layers. Okay. So number one, like that goal that you're thinking about is most likely what I'll call your target goal. Okay. Then there's a lower number that I'm going to call your bottom line goal. So that bottom line goal is like, what do I need to do to keep the doors open? But also too, it might be, unless you're brand new. If you're brand new, that's different. But most people who come to me have been in business for a while. It could be anywhere from 5 to 20 years. And you need to know like where you are now and to just do a little bit better is okay. And then that can be your bottom line goal. Okay.
Right.
And then you also want, and sometimes people do make this mistake. It's like they shoot so high that they're never going to get it necessarily. Certainly not just starting. Right. And then if they don't get up here, then they're failed. Right. But you still want that. Right. Like your pie in the sky. Like if I could have like anything, what would that look like? Your fluff, your socks. And then so when you have 3 goals, now no matter what, you're a winner, unless you sort of, eat, if you go the other way, like if you sit on the couch and eat Cheetos because, everything, the sky is falling in, well, you're not going to meet any of them.
Exactly.
Right. So that's number one, know your numbers, have goals, and have a system to check. And yes, right from the very beginning, certainly know what you want. And secondly, have a vehicle to take it all in. Okay.
Measurable. Yeah. I think that's really, really smart. And I don't know about you, but I find women in particular, it's like they don't want to give that number out there. They don't want to look at that. They just keep going day by day by day, keep doing what they know they should be doing without tracking at all. And I mean, that's how I've been in business for a long time. And it took a lot for me to actually go, even though I hate numbers, that's really key because it helps you feel good too when you're hitting them and you're surpassing them. So being able to track.
I have my own crazy story about that. When I was first starting in business, I knew I didn't like numbers, and I didn't like them because, first of all, they don't stick in my head. And secondly, because I wasn't doing really well. So I don't want to look at them, And so when I looked at them, what happened was I'm not good enough. You'll never make, like, all that. So, you kick into a void, and it's just a snowball. So what I did was I hired a bookkeeper, and I no kidding. And that's a really good idea. So I went and I no kidding sat with her with my checkbook, and she, at the time I had Quicken, it was just kind of like a bootleg copy, but don't tell anybody. I'm real now. I'm like,
we all started that way.
At the time. And I'd be like, I'd read off like my entries, and she'd like put them in. Now I have Quicken Online, and it all sort of gets done in the background. I have a real bookkeeper that I don't sit with and read things off of, but never mind.
But we all have to start somewhere.
Yeah. And she goes, Carol, you don't need me to do this. I'm like, Patty, I do need to, because I will not do it. And she's like, okay. So that is how I began, by tracking those numbers. Okay.
I love that. That's interesting because I had a bookkeeper for a while, and then I was like, this is crazy. My husband said, I will do it. And it's good because my goal with my business has always been to have it a family business. So as my kids have grown, they've taken part in the business. But my husband, that's the one thing, because he's so good at systems and putting the numbers in spreadsheets. So he does QuickBooks for me now. He does all of that, reports it all. I'm like, oh, I love him even more now because he takes out, but we can look at it and we review, and where are we? What's happening? Are we making money? What are we doing? So
absolutely,
to get to that point, seeing the data, like I don't know who that is. Someone, it's either Joy or Phoenix, said the data is how we make our decisions, right? That helps.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. We can be business owners then, and not hobbyists. And it's really important. If you are going to be a business owner, to be one. If you're going to be a hobbyist, incidentally, that's okay too. Make that distinction,
right?
And then decide strategically what you're going to do based on what you call yourself and how you call yourself.
Yeah, and be real about it, right? I mean,
being real is very important.
Either one is fine. Just be honest.
Yeah, so that's number one.
Carol, tell me a little bit about your business and how you got started with your business.
Okay, sure. So we kind of just sort of flew through those. I did have a couple others, but it's all good.
We'll get to them.
We will? Okay, good. Yeah. I just want to know. Thank you. It's my first time on. How did I start my business? Is that the question?
Yeah. Right. What got you going in this direction?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I was sort of forced into it, I guess, would be the right word. I had my own series of personal crises before COVID. So I feel like the universe wanted me to exist well now to help others. And that is how I feel now. I don't feel that this is any different than anything else I've ever been through. And in fact, it's a lot easier because I have been through a lot. And in 2009, when I started my business, that was the Great Recession, for those of you who recall this. Prior to that, I had a real job in a real profession. I was really licensed, that I really went to for, college, and it was in the design professions. I was a landscape architect, had nothing to do with what I do right now. But, what happened was I got laid off. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people watching this possibly have gotten laid off. Their spouses have gotten laid off. They're thinking like, I don't know, maybe I should start a business because I'm going to get laid off. Like something like that. Just know that it's okay. Like you'll make it. You totally will make it.
Yeah.
It could be circuitous. And I have lots of know your numbers, advice for you if you want it on that side of things. But the reason I started my business is because I had to do something. I didn't have a job anymore. And believe me, I looked for one.
Yeah.
So what I did was I said, how else could I use my skill set? Let's see. I'm a project manager. I'm a leader. I like to speak. I like to be in front of, planning boards and different sorts of things like that. When you're a landscape architect, you need to like present plans and so on and so forth. So I said to myself, okay, well, I'm really good at organizing things. I'll be an organizer. And I quickly found out that being an organizer can mean you could be in like people's closets, and that did not feel like a real job. So I was like, I don't think I want to do this. So within a year, I rebranded and put myself as EPS, Efficient Productivity Systems, because I went the other way about being a business productivity organizer. And then I went through the rather painful process of attempting to figure out how in God's green earth I'm going to make a living doing this thing. And, if I were to do it all over again, I probably would have taken what I tell people to do now, which is figure it out, like take your time figuring it out, figure it out, and then go and hire the person who has done this before you.
Yeah.
Or go take the class, read the book. Like do not do what I did and try to figure it out.
Well, it saves so much time, right? Like just go. People have done it. Go find the person who's successful and learn from them.
Yes.
I love that.
So that's what I did. I spent a lot of time. I got divorced in the process, all kinds of fun things. But But so I just kind of fiddled around for a while. And one thing I learned was that the organizing piece, people with ADHD have a hard time organizing. I was trying to figure out how to make a living. And I was like, oh, okay, so I could help those people. So I befriended an ADHD coach and I ended up sharing space with her for a couple of years. She's still a dear friend, colleague, and so on. We've been one another's clients and all the rest of it. Call her my soul sister. And I got her to join DOTS as well. So there's that. But anyway, so I learned a lot about that population, and I learned that I love these folks. So I take kind of a couple of things. I take all of that experience, which is rich, and then learning how to do my own business in a way that's, profitable and powerful and productive and all that kind of fun stuff. And I got that certification. So I have a couple coach certifications in business and just regular old coaching. And I like melded it together and created what I have currently, which is like a business that helps service-based entrepreneurs with ADHD or that kind of a brain, like scattered brain, to help basically have them have the business and life they've always dreamed about, whatever that means to them.
I love that.
A lot of different ways.
That's awesome. So helping people be more organized in the thoughts that are out there and circulating around. I love that. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, you've been very successful. You've had your business for quite a while now, and we're glad to have you share with us. What other tips do you have that you would like to share with our audience?
Okay, great. So if you're in service-based, not product so much, but if you're service-based, don't do this. Don't bill by the hour. Do not bill by the hour. Don't bill by the hour. Okay? Don't bill hourly. Billing hourly is dumb. It's not. It's bad for the client. It's bad for you. It puts a cap on your greatness. It doesn't really say anything about what you're producing, delivering. It's not. So what you want to do is you want to be results based.
I love that. Yeah.
Always, always, always be results based. So, I'm a coach. Lots of times coaches will charge per session, say, for example. I don't have such a thing. I have results based on what I know, package A, package B, package C, and the client, if it's the client is a yes, then the question becomes what level yes are you? How much, how quickly do you want? And it can be a $97 home study program, and it can be, many thousands or tens of thousands of dollars for like an intensive program, and everything in between. But you're going to get a whole lot different results when you pick the mastery program than when you pick the home study program.
I really love that. And you don't hear that kind of suggestion. That isn't talked about a lot, honestly, on how you want to charge for your service.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times it's your experience that you've put in, it's the education, it's the time, all of that. It's hard to just go, okay, I'm $10 an hour, or I'm $100 an hour, or, but to be able to say, what do you want to accomplish? Yeah. Where do you want to go with this? And I can help you get there.
Well, here's the thing. If you don't do that, then what you're stuck with is looking at yourself. And the problem becomes is, especially women, entrepreneurs who are our audience, then it comes this, like, there are the voices in the head saying that, I'm not good enough. Who am I to do this? And all of a sudden it's very me. And then I'm salesy, and then I don't want to sell, and look at all that. You can avoid all of that by leaving yourself out of it. Because the truth is you're just like the vessel that you're going to help this person get that result that she wants. Period. And when you're selling yourself, well, that's another profession that we're not talking about here.
That's another discussion. Yes.
It's true, right? When I'm thinking like, oh, I got to go sell myself. I got to prove myself. Like, oh,
it's not about you.
It's not about you ever, right?
I love that. That's really good. I'm writing notes because this is all great info. Yeah. All right. What would your next tip be? Do you have another one for us?
I actually have something that I borrowed from somebody.
Okay.
And I'll tell you, I need to be completely out with it so that, you don't think I came up with this, because I didn't. And the guy's name is Jonathan Stark. It is a man, but hopefully that's okay to emit like a man's name.
We still talk to men.
Okay, very good. And he has a little calculator, a little formula that he uses to value price. And so it involves kind of a three steps, I guess. Number one, you need to have a conversation with the client before you even begin, if you begin. And you really need to have a why conversation with that person. And you come up with a value that, or actually you don't come up with it, maybe you come up with it with the client as to what the product or service, mostly service, is worth to that client. Okay. Mm-hmm. And that is the scariest part for people, because mostly it's just like, oh, you want, that software system built? Okay, great. So I'm, $100 an hour or whatever it is. And I think it's going to take, 10 hours, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like that. And then they just start and like, oh, well, it's not taking 10 hours. It's taking 15 hours. And like,
and then
right. And then the client's like, well, wait, what? I thought you said, and now you're like, it's just bad. But if you have the why conversation and you go really deep, and some of the questions that he recommends that you do, and I do some version of this actually, why this? Why now? Why me? What happens if you don't do this? Yeah. Now, here's the problem is and there's this like needy, sort of sketchy, weird feeling on the, and you can feel that. It's like you feel this sort of like, get off of me. You know what I mean? Like, no. Versus coming in and being of service. And you really want in that why conversation to have the current situation outlined, like say it out loud. People don't know how bad things are, right? Because, when our shoulder goes out, it's not like like it's our bag has been on that shoulder for like a while. Okay. And it isn't. So it isn't like, so the person's pain has been there for some time, and he or she won't be able to really say it out loud. So it takes that why conversation of, wow, and really have that open curiosity. Okay. Right. So once you get that clear, now that sets the stage for everything. And without that, value pricing actually does not work at all, because they're not used to it. And it's not the norm yet either.
Right.
So right. And so you come up with something. So say it's $100,000 that the project is worth to the client, right? Well, your price should be something along the lines of 10 times lower than that. Like maybe it's $10,000. Okay. And then it should take you like cost, like you'll have to come up with like my cost to do the project. It should be something like 10 times lower than that, like $1,000. Like it'll, like, and you can like adjust that. And you want to also give the client more than one option usually, because if it's one option, it's always a no. Biologically, we are geared to no when there's only one option given. So so that's a little kind of cheat sheet that he has, like that 10, 10, 10, but you can't do any of that without knowing and agreeing with the client what it is worth to them. And you can always say no. You can always say, oh, it's worth $500. And you do the math and you say to yourself, well, I've got this ebook on my website for $27. That sounds like the right thing for you to do right now. And then, then they download the ebook, they're on your list, you nurture them, you offer the program later, yada, yada. 4 years later, they buy your $10,000 program.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's really key, because we talk about that in designing programs as well. What is the problem if they don't take this step? But people don't, they just say, okay, this is what I need. And they maybe even haven't put the time and effort into really realizing what it is, why now, what is it costing them to not do whatever it is they're needing done. So I love that, just getting so clear on that why. And then you can offer your service based on the answer, so that you don't just have, like you said, one thing, I'm $100 an hour, but being able to like really figure it out, and based on what because maybe what they've asked for isn't exactly pinpointed to what they need. Correct. So being able to, I love that. That's really good.
Like discovery. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is a good thing. Get people talking, and you have helped them right there getting clear on exactly what it is they need too. When maybe they haven't done that yet.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I love it. So let me ask you, do you have, what gets you out of bed in the morning? Like, what is your all-time, like, this is what I'm super passionate about? I mean, we know your business. Is there something else you do for fun that you love? Yes.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Okay. So I'm a big outdoors person. I live in the,
Me too.
Yeah, I live in the Northeast in New Hampshire. I don't know if anybody really knows that, but somebody will. And so I live on a lake, and there's 1,200 people in my town type of thing. It's pretty low key. So I actually came to New Hampshire because I got hired to work for the United States Forest Service, USDA Forest Service. So I always liked being outdoors before, but this offered a huge expansion of that love into things I didn't even know existed. So through things like that, I was able to take like wilderness kayak trips or canoe trips for like, 5 or 6 days at a time, like, just bring all your stuff with you and so on.
I love that.
Yeah. Go on, and so, you get to hang out with all these people. And then of course I got married and had kids, and life is different, but I still like to go outside. So every single day I will always go outside. So what gets me out of up in the morning, it's a new day, right? So I get up, I have my routine. I do my stretches, I do my gratitudes, I do my my journaling, I write candles, pull cards, the whole thing. And then I'll usually go for a walk. When the winter starts, then I'll go to the gym. I did rejoin the gym like last week, there's that. But luckily it reopened, which is good.
Yeah.
And I'll do whatever the class is, because you got to keep moving. You got to keep your body moving, right?
Isn't it true? And I think as an entrepreneur, we can be especially now, a lot of people are working from home who maybe weren't before.
Mhm.
And it's so easy to be just like, you can always jump back in and do more work. And you've
Yeah.
got to regenerate. You've got to like
Yeah.
allow that time to like close the door, even if there's no door, and just
Yeah.
go
Oh,
and
for
clear your
sure.
brain.
Yeah. And then the other part that I enjoy is I enjoy dancing. And so I have one of your questions in there is, I don't know, what's unusual or whatever. So I was like, oh, what should I say? So I decided to say that I have a disco ball in my living room.
Ooh.
And doesn't everybody know?
Yeah, exactly.
So, okay. And interestingly, I have two boys. One of them is getting taller quickly. He's in that time frame where he grows fast. And he stepped on the couch and hit his head on the disco ball. And the disco ball went flying down and shattered, and the mirror pieces went off. And then he's like, don't worry, Mom, I'll get you a new one for your birthday, which happened about a month ago. And so it came in the mail. It's bigger. And, so I've got a strobe light. I've got a couple of lights. And the other day, it was actually Halloween. We stayed in at Halloween. We did pumpkins, and my other son's a chef. So he made us like a ghoul meatloaf thingy with bacon all over it. I'm like, I think I'll have a salad. But it looked really good, and then we had a disco party, right? So
I love it.
I think you got to just, you definitely have to still live your life no matter what, because life is like, we love our work as entrepreneurs, and we need to have our life. And that's really, for me, what my work is all about. It's about what do you want your life to look like? And then how does work fit into your life?
Yes. Instead of the other way around, right?
Yeah. So there you go.
I love that. Oh, it's awesome. Well, I am so glad we had a chance to meet and chat a little bit. You may someday find me just heading up your way. I am a water girl who lives in the mountains now. So
Beautiful.
From Washington, I miss the water so much, but I love the mountains here, and I get out and we hike, and we have snowshoes so we can hike in the winter, and we're just loving being here. It's so beautiful. It helps me balance work, right? It just helps me have, like, I get so much more creative when I take that time for myself. So
absolutely.
I love the morning routine. That's awesome.
Always. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to serve the community.
I love that. Well, if people want to get to know you more and follow you and check out all the goodness that you have, is there a website? Is there a Facebook page? What do you prefer? And we'll
Well, I mean, we're on Facebook, right? So, I'll just give you my website. It's EPS. Okay. E as in egg. You're going to write it in. E as in egg. P as in Peter. S as in Sam, which stands for my long company name. So EPS hyphen time, time.com. So E as in egg, P as in Peter, S as in Sam -.com. So that's my website. And from there, you can take a productivity quiz. You can join my monthly free group that I have. Every first Monday of the month, I have a free group at noontime Eastern, noon to 1. We have a different theme and a teaching and a group coaching. No obligation at all whatsoever. Been doing that. It'll be 5 years in March. So, and now I've just finally launched a little Facebook group to go along with that, so people can talk to one another on that. And then I do have a Facebook page, and I recently changed the name of it. I think it's Green Goddess Productivity is what so notice I'm green. I like green. Green is good.
Green Goddess. Okay.
Green Goddess Productivity, or Carol, the Productivity Guru, or some darn thing. So you'll put that in the that I don't really get any business from my Facebook page, really. But I could, I guess.
I always tell people your Facebook page is kind of just, my store is here. I'm in business. Here's the sign on the door. But where you really get that activity is in the group and being able to nurture that community, don't you think? Where people feel comfortable to share, and they're with like-minded people. And so,
it's awesome. Relationships. So if you're in a Facebook group, that's a relationship. A LinkedIn group, that's a relationship. A real group, when we could touch each other, hug each other, that's one of those. That's a relationship. So relationships are everything.
I love it. Well, you have shared some awesome tips with oh my gosh, my tongue isn't working. It must be time for more coffee and get out and go for my walk. But thank you so much for joining us today. And I've got some links here. I will make sure we get it all posted. Thank you so much for joining us. As you are watching the replay, everyone, please give us a little shout out and put a little hashtag replay so we know you saw this. Share it out with your friends. If you know an entrepreneur who is in business, share these tips with them, because holy cow, we could all use just all the tips we can get right now. So thank you, Carol. I appreciate it. It's nice to meet you. And thank you all for joining us at Business by Design Online.
All right.